Call the meeting of the Fiscal Court to order. Welcome everybody this morning. Winter's back again after a little reprieve. We have some guests this morning. Becky Cornwall got a report on our light show. Becky?
I do, Judge. We've got all our numbers in, and we've even got a vehicle count in this year. That's the first time. Usually it's February or March before we hear from that. This year, we did 42,868 in food items. We did
Wait a minute, how much?
42,868. And we did $54,447 in monetary donations. I was very pleased, very excited. That'll just help us do more for our clients this year.
Absolutely. And what was our car count?
The car counts, it was reflected that it was 23,311 vehicles through the light show. I told Larry, I don't agree with that because a few years ago it was 36,000 or something. So I don't know. I don't know if that was a faulty counter that year or what it was, but that's a big difference.
Well, you know, it's still pretty,
It's pretty impressive numbers.
For sure. And a lot of those were vans and buses, I think. I know we had several church groups. One group from Webster County said they drove all the way down from Webster County to go through the light show and said they really enjoyed it. So now 54,000, is that a record monetarily?
It is so far, year to date.
Okay. Well, all right. Thank you, Becky. Very good report. We appreciate everybody that volunteers to come out and help during the light show. We have several church groups. I know the road department, other departments, refuge department takes turns coming out and assisting during the light show. So we appreciate everybody that helps.
Judge, with that being said, I'd also like to recognize Taylor Sanders and Brandon Wynn. Those two gentlemen are out there at the park every night. They are just awesome to make sure everything's taken care of, making sure we don't need anything, checking in on us and our volunteers. And I just want them to know that we do appreciate them.
All right. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Another successful year for our light show, and I did have a lady, and I don't know if she's got a hold of the park yet or not, came up to me at the post office last week and said she had some lights and some displays that she wanted to donate to the park. And I said, well, we're always looking out for new displays, so I don't know where we'll put them. Okay. Well, I told her just to contact you or Barb, and I said, you know, we're always looking. I don't know where we'll put them, but we'll find a place, I'm sure. It's always nice when you can recognize somebody for their service. Les Landers has been our, well, I don't know what you'd call it, Mr. Everything, over at the Sanitation District Number 1 for many years. Les is trying to retire, but every time he tries to, something else comes up and he steps in and helps out again. But Les, and I know it's been a struggle because we are a very small district, very few customers, but the cost is the same whether you're a big district or small district. And to keep our Sanitation District Number 1 going, it's took a lot of effort and a lot of long hours for a lot of people, particularly Les. Just to show a little bit of our appreciation, Les, if you'd come up, we'd like to present you with a Kentucky colonelcy from Steve Bashir, and recognizes you as a Kentucky colonel and all your efforts and everything you do for us and have done. We appreciate it so much. Thank you, Les.
Judge, this is totally unexpected and real honor.
All right,
I
buddy.
appreciate it.
Thank
Can we
you.
get a picture of the two of you together?
Yeah.
Be a good time for a photo bomb, wouldn't it?
Suitable for framing, I hope.
We did get, a, grant. We're trying to do some, upgrades on the system, there at, Aurora. And, so hopefully, we're continuing to make a little progress. We didn't get everything that we wanted, to completely redo the system, but we're keeping it operational, and that's been a day-to-day. The ice storm like killed us, but we got through it.
There's a lot of duct tape and baling wire down there.
That's right. Oh, but, all right, Mr. Gifford, you have a,
Yes, sir, I do, Judge. This is on our KIA Fund B grant, and it's to Rick's Electric. This is the starting of the telemetry on the brewer's tank. So when this is completed, that line can be fully charged, and the people out there can start hooking on to hopefully soon. But it's in the amount of $5,758. And again, it goes to Rick's Electric, and this is on telemetry.
all right, you heard the request. What's your pleasure?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
That's it, Judge.
Can you say the name of that electric company again?
Rick's Electric in Mayfield. Rick.
Rick's.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
All right, anybody else here to address the court this morning? If not, we'll move on into correspondence from the Department for Local Government. So, dear Judge Miller, thank you for submitting an application for an energy efficiency and conservation for local government grant. Unfortunately, with a large number of applications, we are only able to fund only 1/5 of the applications, and yours was not among those selected. While we do not have any additional grant funds, we hope that you will consider other strategies to finance your efficiency and conservation measures. Energy saving performance contracting is a means to finance facility improvements and address deferred maintenance and implement projects through utility cost savings, which are guaranteed to finance the cost of the project. If you'd like to learn more about energy savings, give us a call. This is Harry Carver, the Office of State Grants. From Lisa Carter, from Owen Carter and Carter. This is to the fiscal court. This letter is to update you in regard to litigation pending in the Marshall Circuit Court filed by the Marshall County Board of Education relative to 2 delinquent tax liens being asserted by purchaser Hazel Enterprise on property owned by the Board of Education. This matter has been litigated before Judge Faust on motions for summary judgment and requests for more particular findings. On December 10th, 2013, the judge entered an order that the certificate of delinquencies would need to be refunded for 2 certificates pursuant to KRS Chapter 134-551 by the Marshall County Clerk's Office. I've discussed this matter with Tim York, and it was our intent that once this became a final order, we would discuss with the fiscal court the method of repayment. However, Hazel Enterprise has appealed this order. Hazel is appealing for all his costs, attorney fees, recording fees, and interest. It is my reading of KRS 134-551 that all he would be entitled to would be the face value of the certificates when sold by the county clerk. This is also in line with the order rendered by Judge Faust. The next step in the appellate process will require the plaintiff to certify the record on appeal by the circuit court. The record in this case consists of motions and briefs by counsel. This matter was decided as a matter of law by the court. Marshall County has until January the 19th to file a cross appeal from the proceedings of the circuit court. I've discussed this matter with the Marshall County attorney, and the decision has been made to file a cross appeal. Jeff, where are we in this thing?
Well, she filed the cross appeal. And it'll go into
This will go to the Court of Appeals now?
Yes, yes, on that issue.
All right. Now, what is this guy asking for? I mean,
Well, what happened?
I mean, I know this is the guy that comes in and buys tax liens,
Yes.
right?
What- There was the Board of Education purchased this property, and it's our belief, and as Judge Faust agreed, that when a county or state agency buys, or city purchases, requires property, then obviously that eliminates the tax burden. And during all this process, there was an outstanding tax bill that Hazel Enterprises came in and bought. Then once the transaction went through, they tried to come back and say, well, we want 12% interest, our costs and all that stuff. And even though the Board of Education named the county in a suit, we were in agreement on what was going on. And the judge simply said, okay, even though they bought it when they probably should have known it was going to be an issue, they get their refund. They don't get the cost and fees and all that. And that is what they
They
are
just
appealing.
get the face value of what they paid
Right.
to buy that lien.
And we
You don't-
still maintain, the reason we filed a cross appeals, we still maintain that, you start doing that, things like that, you do it at your own risk. And that's we weren't really intending on filing a cross appeal, just if that was the only issue, refund the money and everybody go home. But since there is an appeal pending over the other issues, my suggestion was go ahead and file it. I don't know if that helps or not.
Well, I mean, this could be a long drawn-out process. I
It'll
guess.
take, it'll take a year anyway. I mean, that's just I think any case that goes before the Court of Appeals, you're gonna look at about a year.
Okay. All right.
Now, and as Lisa mentioned in there, the expense in certifying the record and all will be minimal in this because it's a summary proceeding.
Okay. From WKNT TV, this is a notice of cable rate adjustments as required by FCC regulation and local franchise provisions. I provide you with this notice of cable rate adjustments. Beginning February the 5th, 2014, WKNT TV expanded video service will be $69.95, an increase of $5 a month. As you may recall, a broadcaster retransmission fee of $3.50 was added in 2013. That fee has not increased, but is included in the 2014 rate adjustment mentioned above. We understand the need to keep our price competitive while offering the best possible service and value. When compared to other providers, you will find that we are still the best value in entertainment service available, and our commitment to our subscribers and communities is our utmost priority. Please call our local office at 270-856-1919 with any questions regarding this rate change. The change becomes effective February the 5th, 2014. This is from Michael D. Lee, WK&T Marketing Sales Department. Is there any other correspondence for the court? Let's move into old business. You've all received the minutes of the January 7th meeting of the fiscal court. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of the meeting?
Motion approved, Judge.
I have a motion to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. The motion carries. We talked about our contract for our day-use parks. Larry, have you got any more information on,
Last week, TVA did say they were going to send us a contract, and we were approved for the funds. They did need a little more information from us since they hadn't done this type business with us before, and sent me some forms that Emily has been kind enough to fill out for me. She gave them to me this morning, so I'll get them faxed in, and I would assume by next court meeting, we'll have that contract that we can sign for those funds. But they did need, some of our banking information because the check will go straight to our bank and those type of things.
they, of course, what they're talking about doing is providing us with some grant funds
Right.
to help us in our day-use parks, which is kind of amazing after charging us to
Right.
operate our day-use parks.
It's almost $17,000 they've agreed to give us to resurface these docks and walkways.
Yeah. Which we appreciate
Yes.
very much, but it just seems kind of ironic. They giveth on one hand, and the other hand they taketh away, so we appreciate anyway their willingness to work with us. Old Gilbertsville property, Kev, we know any more than we did? I mean, I know you're working on it.
Yeah, I got notices sent out last week. I've got 12 properties with 7 different property owners. And I discovered, one of them is a second time we've sent a notice. I wanted to ask you about this. It was one that we've already sent a notice to, and they got word back to me that they were fixing to tear the house down. That was well over 6 months ago. And after I got to look at my information and already sent the notice out, it's gonna be the second time. So what kind of time frame are we gonna leave on this one?
Since you sent a
Because-
new notice, I'd go ahead and just follow that new
Okay,
time.
because I didn't realize that till after I'd done
I
sending
mean,
it
that'll
out.
obviously be what'll go into consideration and what will
Okay.
happen once that time runs.
But 12 properties, and we've got those sent out. I've just got to wait for the notices to come back to know when the 10-day time
Right,
limit is.
right.
And after that, we'll proceed on from that point.
Okay, all right. And you say there was 7 different property owners?
7
Kev?
different property owners with
12
12 properties.
properties. Okay. All right, thank you. Agility Recovery Solutions, we've had a contract with Agility for, I guess, 3 or 4 years since the ice storm. And I checked with Keiko, and a lot of the things that Agility does, Keiko now covers for us. However, Agility, if you have a catastrophic situation, they will bring in computers, and Keiko does the same thing. But also, if you need trailers to work out of, Agility supposedly takes care of that type of situation as well. How much is our contract, do you recall, Emily?
Seems like prior years it's been about $3,500
Yeah.
a year.
So it's up to you if you want to continue the contract, or,
And those, the trailers that if we were to have an emergency like that, our contract with them guarantees that they will have them here within a 48-hour period, have them set up and running and able to operate as an office. However, all of that equipment comes at a rental charge after that. All this contract does is secure
that we will get
that
it.
we
We'll
will
have
get
to
it.
pay a rental charge on whatever we do get.
You know what the time frame would be if you go through Keiko for delivery?
I mean, all Keiko would do would be to assist in the same thing that they're saying they'll do for us. But I don't know a time frame, Terry. I really don't.
They're guaranteeing 48 hours.
They're getting 48 hours that they will have trailers here set up, and ready to work as an office. But you would pay the rental fee, whatever that might be.
We don't know what that is.
We don't know what that would be, no.
It's not necessarily what I would call cheap. It's pretty,
What you thinking, Judge?
It's one of those things, Terry, till you
You
need it.
don't need it till you need it.
You know,
What do you spend on an unknown?
right, exactly, and with Keiko, saying, well, you know, if you've got needs like, computers, things like that, we'll come get you set up down in Carlisle County when they had the fire. Keiko was right there with computers within a 48-hour period, getting them in rental spaces. So I don't know. Arthur Byrne, if you recall, the mayor of Mayfield, who came and talked to us about agility, this is after the ice storm, was just singing their praises that they had Mayfield City Council, or Mayfield City up and running, although they had no power at City Hall. They brought in generators and whatever it took to run the operations. And that's where this all started from, was the ice storm.
An additional concern I have is that because they brought in computers and desks and phone lines and phones and things and copiers and things like that, because of our software and things like that, it's also reflecting upon our offices how prepared we are. Because if I don't have the software there to load into the computers, I'm just sitting there with a blank computer. So I don't know that, it depends on how prepared we are. And that concerns me too, that even if I have the software and get it loaded, is it gonna be able to load back into old data? Is it gonna be able to, logistic things like that?
Now, having said that, Emily, do you think we ought to go into this contract or not? You girls have to deal with it a lot, I know.
I don't know.
That's
Andy,
helpful.
do we not have an ability, I see Andy over there. Do we not have the ability to back up our software in the event of an emergency where she would be able to access that software to use a remote computer if it was needed?
A remote, yes, with it.
Okay, so that would.
We do that.
Well, that would be a question, I mean, how much of this can we prepare for?
I'm just kind of walking into it, so I'm not sure where we are right now. But I can tell you, we do a lot of what we have designed for is designed not only for today's use, but how do we handle that in a disaster recovery kind of situation. So all of our stuff is backed up here locally. It's sent off-site. It does it every single day. We can have it will be actually backed up probably every hour or so. So as far as having a disaster recovery, now that's a little bit different because not only do you not have, if something happens to this entire building, not only do you have those servers, but then all of the software and all of the computers that you actually use is affected as well. So I mean, there's some going back and installing that kind of stuff, but if we had to, we would be back up and running. I would say worst case scenario, day and a half probably, and it would probably likely be much faster than that.
Could we get the computers in some way to,
That's the one thing is where would you be able to get extra computers?
and that's
Which is
where
what
they
they
come.
That's where
Yeah.
agility comes in.
Yeah. I would be in favor of just keeping it. I mean, unless you all see differently. I mean, we don't.
For now, unless we can come up with a different source, I mean, just from what Andy said, we could cover the software transfer, but the actual hardware that will be the problem. And they'll
Yeah.
come in here with hardware for you to
Yeah.
use.
I think what Commissioner Drew's saying, it's better to be safe than sorry, and although, for right now, I would agree with her. I think that it would be best to at least another year till we see what the Keiko capabilities are gonna be.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right, did you put that in the form of a motion?
I'd make a motion that we continue our contract with Agility. I wish we had a price on it, Judge. Is that?
It's
I mean,
$3,000 something a year. I
I
can't tell
think,
you
yeah.
exactly.
Okay,
About 3,400, I think.
that's a ballpark. Okay.
Real close.
Second.
Have a motion and second that we reaffirm with Agility our contract with them in case of emergency. Any discussion on the motion?
None.
Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Any other old business?
I have something, Judge,
Okay.
since Andy is here. We allocated funding for the county website, and I think GIS is finally at a point where they can allocate some time to that. Andy, did you say Friday you have some time to maybe if it's all right with you all, the money's already in the budget. He was wanting to meet with department heads and get an idea of what each of the departments would like, content-wise on the website, and wanted to know if any of us wanted to participate in those meetings Friday at 9 a.m. here.
Yes, in the old one.
So if you have any particular types of things you would want included on the website, I think he's gonna be meeting with the department heads to start that process.
Okay, that'll be at 9 o'clock on Friday. Okay, so try to encourage all of our department heads to take part. Any other old business? All right, let's move into new business. We have the audit report from the East Marshall Fire Protection District for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2013. It's a clean audit, but we have the report here for your consideration. We also will, of course, forward this to the state auditor's office as required under the new Transparency Act, as he calls ghost governments. All of our taxing districts, fire districts, and other special districts are reporting as required by the state auditor's office. So if there's no objection, we'll accept the audit report from the East Marshall Fire Protection District. We do have a opening. As some of you know, my dear friend Jim Cothran passed away while I was down with the flu. Jimmy served on our East Marshall Fire Protection District Board. Jimmy served in several capacities with us. Also, of course, he was a teacher, an administrator in the Marshall County School District. I'll never forget Jimmy and I coaching Pony League baseball when we were very young men, and we sold Watkins products door to door to try to raise money to buy baseballs and bats and stuff for the kids. I told Jimmy one time, I said, you know, it's a good thing we didn't depend on that to make a living, because I don't think we made real good Watkins product salesmen. We did make enough to keep the ball team going, but Jimmy's term will expire the 30th of June, 2014. I don't know if y'all have anybody in mind to fill that vacancy. If you want to think about it, we'll take that up at the next meeting of the court, which will be the first meeting in February. But we will miss Jim and his participation and service to that board. This morning, we met with, what was the fellow's name? Mr. Barnes, in regard to our building code. As you know, we're fast moving on the date that we have to implement a new building code. We had a very good meeting, a very productive meeting, I think, this morning with Mr. Barnes. And we have our first reading and I'll try to get through this. This is something that's required now. Of course, we've always had electrical inspector, but now the state is requiring that you have a building inspector from the time you start digging a footer till the time the house is completed on all buildings. So every county and every city, and cities have the opportunity, I believe, I'm correct in this, Jeff, to go in with the county and have one code if they desire, or the cities can opt to have their own code. So we'll see where that goes. But let's have our first reading. This is an ordinance relating to the adoption of the Uniform Statewide Building Code as promulgated in 815 KAR 7120 and 815 KAR 7125 by the Board of Housing, Buildings, and Construction of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County, Commonwealth of Kentucky as follows. Whereas KRS 198B-060, Section 1, requires that all buildings constructed in Marshall County shall be built in compliance with the Uniform State Building Code as adopted by the Board of Housing, Buildings, and Construction. And whereas KRS 198B-060 authorizes any city, county, or urban county government to require by ordinance permits, inspections, and certificates of occupancy for single-family dwellings. And whereas KRS 198B-060, Section 11, requires the local government to employ or contract for or with electrical inspection services, and whereas 198B-060 authorizes each local government to establish a schedule of fees which are designed to cover the cost of the service performed, but not to exceed it. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, Adoption of the Building Code, that the Kentucky Building Code promulgated in 815 KAR 7120 and the Kentucky Residential Code promulgated in 815 KRA 125 by the Board of Housing, Buildings, and Construction, Commonwealth of Kentucky, are hereby adopted in full as an ordinance of Marshall County for the Commonwealth of Kentucky as if set out at length herein. That a copy of the said building code and Kentucky Residential Code are on file in the office of the Marshall County Clerk, and the clerk shall at all times keep a copy of said building code for reference. That an attested copy of this ordinance shall be transmitted to the Office of Housing, Building, and Construction of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. There shall be a designated local enforcement agent or agency for said building code. All building code inspections shall be performed by persons certified by the Kentucky Department of Housing, Buildings, and Construction. All electrical inspections shall be performed by a state-certified electrical inspector specifically approved by this jurisdiction. Section 3, that the building inspection program of Marshall County shall include plan review and inspection of structures subject to the Kentucky Residential Code as promulgated in 815 KER 7125. Section 4, permits and fees. That the fees for permits and inspection shall be provided for in the attached schedule. Section 5, inconsistent ordinances repealed. That all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are to the extent of such conflict hereby repealed. This resolution shall take effect and be in full force when passed, published, and recorded according to law. And we'll be publishing this in the Tribune Courier, I guess, in the next publication, and have the second reading on the first or second meeting in
I'd have
February.
it the second meeting, because we've got a couple things to work out.
All right, we'll try to have that second reading in the second meeting in February. Do I have a motion to pass the first reading?
Motion to pass, Judge.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Let's put a number on that.
What about the specifics of that, Judge, like the permit fees and the
That's what we-
process?
That's what we gotta work out. We met with a gentleman this morning who is a certified inspector. We did not talk specifically. In fact, I don't know, we even asked him what he was charging. Was it 80/20 for the city of
Yes.
Benton?
Yes. but
Something
it's
similar to what Cap.
Based on per square foot
Yeah.
is what his fee is.
But we haven't worked that out or offered him a contract. I mean, he would be working as a subcontractor for us, similar to what CAP does.
Will we be taking on any administrative duties at the county level, or is there gonna be costs incurred with having to set this up that go beyond just the 80/20?
There will
I don't
be-
really know.
There will be some
They'll-
additional duties.
There'll be some, there'll be some administrative costs, yeah.
Yeah.
And it said in there that the county clerk, he will have the
In the ordinance,
paperwork, yeah.
yeah, that's where it's the official location.
So we'll need to bring Tim into any discussions we have, any further discussions on this. Okay, any other questions? All right, let's go into the encumbrance report. Emily?
We had an encumbrance of $30,466.17 for the general fund. The road fund, $71,557.74. The jail fund, $18,824.43. And 911 fund, $371.99 for a total encumbrance of $121,194.83 for the quarter ending December 31st, 2013. I just need to have these numbers approved so they can feed into the quarterly report.
All right, you heard the request. What's your pleasure?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
All right,
We need that.
so that was for your. Thank you.
All right, next is our quarterly report.
Our quarterly report for December 31st, 2013 shows a total ending cash balance of $4,009,808 for all funds. There's on page 2. Is that number? This report is sent into Department of Local Government for acceptance.
All right. I entertain a motion to approve the quarterly report.
Motion to approve the quarterly report,
We
Judge.
have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Next is our payroll fund accounts receivable.
As of December 31st, 2013, Sheriff's Office owes $92,475.87 for payroll.
I have a motion to approve the accounts receivable report.
Motion to approve, Judge.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Intra-fund transfer.
I'm just asking for approval to move the budgeted subsidy from occupational tax administrator to the 911 fund for $31,250.
Motion approved, Judge.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Jeff, you said you had an issue and you want to talk
regarding,
about it in
real
executive
estate.
session?
Yes, sir.
All right, we have a issue that the county attorney would like to talk to us about in executive session. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to go into
I have
executive
a
session.
motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And this is to discuss
Real estate.
real estate.
I have a personnel item too,
All right,
if we need to announce it.
let's call the court back into regular session. We had two items in our executive session. One involved some property that we're gonna be meeting with some different folks with some property adjoining the park to see if we can work out an arrangement. The other was a personnel issue with our animal control officers. We'll be meeting with them in the next couple of days to see what their concerns are and then report back to the court. You've had an opportunity to review the bills.
Motion to pay them, Judge.
We have a motion to pay the bills. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Any other business come before the court?
Yeah,
the extension service would like to have some signs put up welcoming people to our community. And I was just wondering if it'd be all right to put some of them up. I think they're on 4.
At the county lines. We have the sign making machine. Do I hear a motion to allow Russell to do that?
Second.
Have a motion and second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Any other business? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Have a motion and second. All in favor, say aye. Meeting's adjourned.
About as